Hello, welcome to Tootie's Kitchen, Mama Helm style, in the elements of Tootie's table. That's a lot, isn't it? Probably need to simplify it. But for right now, hey, I'm just having fun. And today we're going to be prepping some chicken. So I had some chickens ready to do a fundraiser with at school. I'll tell you more about that later. And we had a bunch of snow days. And so now I don't want to lose my chickens, and I fear we're on the brink of that. So I'm going to go ahead and prep them and cook them. And today I was watching Brenda Gant on Facebook. She's a wonderful lady. Check her out. Go follow her. And she was doing a one-pot meal with chickens, which I've done. But we just did a one-pot roast yesterday. So to add all the potatoes and carrots again, nobody's going to want that in the house. So I'm just going to prep my chicken and get it ready to make. I'm going to be doing chicken enchiladas. I'm going to show you how to make those. We'll be doing quesadillas. We'll be doing several things in the near future, and I'm just going to freeze this once it's cooked and have it in proportioned out to where I can just defrost what I need. All right, so if you weren't with me on the chicken noodle soup episode, I'm going to show you how getting ready to cook with chicken. You got to get your hand with a whole chicken. You got to get, as I call, personal with it. So first of all, I'm going to cut this bag. Be careful how you cut it. Cut it away from you, because sometimes those bags are kind of got a lot of pressure in them. And when you put a slit in it, it's going to squirt juice, bloody juice everywhere. So just make sure that, you kind of have a handle on everything. And we're going to pull this guy. And I'm going to show you how there's generally a bag inside, okay? The one on my chicken noodle soup episode, it wasn't in a bag. It depends on what brand you buy, I'm sure, who you buy it from. But inside this bag is the heart, the liver, the gizzards, and the neck. And there's a lot of uses for this. You can pop this into a saucepan and you can boil it. I'll give you a little first-hand glimpse here. You can boil it down, simmer it. I like to simmer mine for about an hour and season it. And when it's about to that hour point, mix up some cornstarch and water and stir in there and make you some good homemade giblet gravy is what we call it. Now chickens, raw chickens, they don't really have a smell. I don't recall them if they're bad, they have a smell. This guy, he's a chicken. All right, so, but they're wet. All right, if you ever open one and it's slimy, get rid of it because it is no good. All right, so this guy is ready to be washed. How many of you wash your chickens? I don't wash them with soap. I just wash them really good, rinse them off. There's a lot of controversy out there on social media on whether you wash your chicken or not. It ain't that big of a deal to me. Just wash it off. Wash him off and just chunk him over here in this pan. Because we're going to actually stick him in the oven and roast him, okay? But I needed a big enough pan that he'll roast really good. I'm going to start him off on 500, probably for about an hour. I have a lid for this pot I'll have on there. But actually, Brenda Gant had a lid as well, and she said I'm going to use aluminum foil, so I may just try her method. Don't you like trying other people's methods? I hope that's how y'all handle mine. You just take mine, do your own thing with it. There's not really anything wrong there's nothing wrong with changing up recipes. Make them your own. You can't really hurt them. I guess you could if you don't really know what you're doing, but I'm hoping that my videos inspire young girls who are just maybe starting out newlywed, or maybe they've just got their first apartment and they're single. Or maybe they would just like to help their mom around the house and cook a meal or two every now and then. So mom, I'm trying to help you. But I want you to, and guys, oh my gosh, some of the best cooks are guys. In my family and consumer science class, which is a class I teach at our private school, I teach life skills, and I have a whole unit on food. And of course, my sleeve's gonna start falling while my hands are all chickeny. In that family and consumer science class, we have all types of little cooking lessons. I try to get these kids, they're in the 9th grade, and it's not too young to be getting their hands full of knowing how to cook, the basics of cooking, okay? So, all right. I got those two guys in there ready to go. I'm gonna rinse my hands off. But in my cooking class, they all love my chicken noodle soup. Most of the students do. And so when I was teaching this group how to make the chicken noodle soup, I like to make mine with a whole chicken. A whole chicken just has all the goodness of all the flavors of every part of the chicken, and I promise you, it makes a difference, okay? And nothing wrong with using chicken that like chicken breast or rotisserie chicken or whatever, but you're not gonna get the full juices of the dark meat, the white meat, everything that's within that whole chicken. But they said that when they were handling it like I was how you gotta get all personal and dig their guts out and everything. Which, speaking of, I don't know if this guy had guts in him. Oh, he did, and I got busy talking and didn't pull him out. Let's rinse him off again. I mean, you gotta get all up in these guys. Girls, whatever they are. Thankfully, they don't have a head, so they can't, be all embarrassed. All right, so, but they didn't want to eat the chicken noodle soup. Once we handled the raw chicken, they were done with it. Some of them. Others of them thought it was really funny. But anyway, watching Brenda Gant this morning in her one-pot meal. We're not going to make a meal. We're going to make meat to make a meal with later. She added a ton of onion. So I'm going to cut up an onion, but what I'm going to do is inside each of these guys, I'm going to stuff it with an onion. Let me grab 2 onions. All right, I've got 2 onions here ready to go. And not ready to go, but ready to rock and roll with. All right. So I'm just gonna cut these onions. We've had a bunch of snow here, and I teach high school at our private school. And we've been off. We were out last Monday or Tuesday, and then more snow hit Friday morning. We were out of school, and then the roads were still icy today, so we were out of school again. And so I've never realized how much I do on my days off. How do I do it when I'm working, y'all? Oh, goodness. So I'm just going to stuff, for seasoning purposes, up inside each of these guys. I'm going to quarter these onions, and I'm going to just stick them up in there just to flavor it. That way I can take it to an Italian, my kids say I don't say that right. We can take it on an Italian venture. We can take it on a Mexican, Hispanic venture. We can take it to a Cajun venture. We can use this chicken for anything we want to. All right, but I'm just gonna stuff him. I'm gonna stuff these guys with onion. And as that onion cooks, the aroma's just gonna saturate these boys. And we're gonna stuff this one. Sorry, fella. I'm having to really open you up there, okay? All right. Okay, now, because I'm just doing this for prep meat, I am going to we'll get that in a minute. I'm gonna do some basic seasoning. We will throw a little bit in there, but we're not gonna go any direction except my Steamin' Steve's Tennessee Heat that is a rub and seasoning. It just adds a little kick. It doesn't really go any direction in particular, ethnically speaking. And so we're just gonna really season these up good. I'm gonna put a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan, but these guys really produce some good juices. theirself. And again, we're not doing it for a meal. Now, I'll tell you what you could do. You could boil these and make you a whole bunch of broth and store your broth, and you'll have homemade broth. I'm just gonna put mine in the oven, and I'm gonna throw a little bit of, I'm gonna rub them down with a little bit of bacon grease. I should have probably put the grease on first, but y'all, this is the joys of cooking. You just go with it. Okay, what I'm gonna do, my grease is congealed, so I'm going to take my basting brush. Do you have a little, look at this cute little bacon dish, that bacon, not baking, bacon grease container. My sweet Gabby, my daughter-in-law, we go to craft fairs, and there's one lady who makes a lot of pottery, and this is the sweetest thing, y'all. Anyway, I've got me some bacon grease in here, and I'm just gonna take my basting brush. Now, if you're on a health journey where you don't want this bacon grease, leave it out. I'm on a little health journey too, but I'm picking and choosing what I wanna use and not use, and it's really not gonna hurt you to just rub you some bacon grease. And I'm doing it right with the seasonings, but it's gonna just saturate that skin. And you don't want to stick it back in there. You'll contaminate your grease. I caught myself before I did, y'all. All right, I'm just gonna kind of throw a big wallop on there. Wallop, dollop. And I'm just gonna take my basting brush and just rub that skin down. Okay, so I didn't have bacon, but I had bacon grease. So I'm just rubbing these babies down. Okay, I'm gonna pop it in the oven on 500 for about 30 minutes. Then I'm gonna take it down to 400. I'm gonna try Brenda Gant's way of doing it, okay? I'm gonna take it down to 400 and probably cook it for about another 30 minutes. I'm gonna check it at that point, and then I'll let you know what happens from there, okay? Okay guys, here is those lovely roasted chickens. I cooked them on 1 hour and 10 minutes on 500, and then I changed it over to 400, and I cooked it for 2 more hours, maybe 2.5 hours, I believe, to be more accurate. But in that last 2 hours, I cut the tops of the chicken and flipped them over in their juices, let them sit there for a little bit, then flipped them back over and poured the juice off the sides of it on the top, and then set it back in to finish. And y'all, it is just as tender as, well, look at that, just tender, tender, tender. If I go to pick it up, it's not, let's see, let's do that while I've got you on camera here. You can see how that it's just like, see the wiggle, wiggle, wiggle? That's a sure sign that let's do a little cut here. And let's just see how well, oh my goodness, do you see that, how well it's cutting? Oh y'all, look at that, it's perfect. Oh my goodness. And remember how we put the bacon on the top? It's gonna be perfect, y'all. All right, well, thank you for joining me. Happy eating.